And this trade for Irving certainly does qualify. You know the particulars. Let's run them down, though. Kyrie to Big D for a big haul that includes Spencer Dinwiddie going back to Brooklyn, Dorian Finney-Smith, and 3 future draft picks, including a first, though that's near the end of the decade. Kyrie demanded a trade a few days ago, letting the Nets know he would not re-sign in free agency, thus necessitating the move. It's been a long, strange trip, as they once said. Let's run through it. Kyrie's 4 years. Year 1, constant drama, sidelined by a shoulder injury for most of the year, limited to only 20 games without Kyrie or KD. The Nets finished 7th in the East. They were swept by Toronto in the first round. Year 2, a big 3 in Brooklyn as James Harden joined. But Harden, KD, and Irving only played together for 14 games. They were 5-1 in the playoffs. Kyrie sprained his ankle in the conference semis, missed the remainder of the series that the Nets would go on to lose. Then, last season, Kyrie didn't play for most of the year due to the vaccination situation, missing the first 35 games, playing in only 29 overall. The Nets again finished as the 7th seed in the East, lost in the first round to Kyrie's old team, the Celtics. And this year, suspended for 8 games for those anti-Semitic comments. He did average 27 points a game, earning his 8th career All-Star game selection. However, now, as he gets ready and dons an All-Star jersey, it'll be for the West.
The man who broke this news Sunday, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, with us on SportsCenter so you can know a fraction of what it is that he knows. Woj, this is what we want to know. How's Kyrie end up in Dallas as opposed to Los Angeles or elsewhere?
John, Brooklyn ultimately liked the package for the short term that they could get from Dallas. Spencer Dinwiddie, who they've had previously as their point guard, and of course Dorian Finney-Smith, and then 3 draft picks, including a first rounder in that deal that you will expect the Nets are going to shop this week and try to reroute to bring back more talent around Kevin Durant. But the Nets wanted to move quickly off of Kyrie Irving once he asked for a trade. Talks really accelerated on Sunday between Dallas and Brooklyn. And listen, this is a Dallas team that takes some risk with this trade, pairing Kyrie Irving with Luka Doncic. But for the Nets, listen, they thought they got the best package they could to try to plug into a lineup with Kevin Durant.
We'll swing back around to that number 1. But in Dallas, do they draft with the idea of kind of like the Nets, we'll hold off on this extension? Or do we feel like Kyrie Irving is a long-term Maverick?
Well, they gave up, fairly significant assets in this deal to just have Kyrie Irving for the rest of the season. But they understood the risk that comes with this, not just the pairing of Doncic and Irving, 2 very ball-dominant guards, but also certainly everything else that has come with Kyrie Irving. I think for the Mavericks, listen, they're not committing yet to a long-term deal. They can only sign him to a 2-year extension before June 30th. And then this summer, when Kyrie Irving is a free agent, they can do a longer deal with him. But I think their view is that they can make this work in Dallas. Jason Kidd, the coach, Nico Harrison, the GM, who has a lot of history back from his Nike days with Kyrie Irving. But listen, I think they understand they weren't good enough without Irving, and they take some risks now to try to bank on his talent and to see if they can be the team that finally figures it out with him.
Brooklyn's big 3, if that was ever actually a thing, is now down to KD, and you touched on this, but what are the Nets looking at in terms of him? He has to be traded once before, and they got to kind of figure this out before Thursday. What are we looking at?
Yeah, Brooklyn, listen, they want to stave off another Kevin Durant trade request. They want him to hang in there with them, at least through the trade deadline, and obviously beyond that. But they'll continue to try to upgrade this roster. They have some draft picks, certainly some players that they can use in trades. It remains to be seen whether the Nets have enough to get out there in the marketplace and get a high-level co-star for Kevin Durant. He doesn't have that right now. Ben Simmons, who is out injured again right now with a sore knee, he has not been what they hoped he would. They hope he'll be better by the playoffs, but this is a Nets team certainly that's not a finished product as a championship contender. They thought they might be with Kyrie Irving, of course, that ended. He's in Dallas, and now the Nets have a few days before that Thursday 3 p.m. trade deadline to go out and see if they can try to improve this team and keep Kevin Durant fastened to this organization.
For Woj, it was a busy Sunday. More to keep track of until Thursday. Thanks, Woj.
Thanks, John.
So how will Luka and Kyrie fit together in the Mavs' new first-name-only backcourt? Kendrick Perkins on that. And he expresses a measure of disappointment in Kyrie's time in Brooklyn.
That's saying something.
Yeah, 2 words, blowtorch. Asked out of Brooklyn on Friday. Lo and behold, headed to Dallas on Sunday. Nets still not sold on a contract extension, same as they were this summer, so Irving requested to go elsewhere. Only cost the Mavs 2 current players and a couple of picks who are currently in junior high school. 4 years in Brooklyn, nothing close to a championship result. No bubble, no vaccine, no big three, really no shortage of controversy. As many games missed as played, but boy, when he was on the floor, sublime. Averaged 27 points per. Teaming up with Luka looks like a recipe for disaster for opposing defenses on paper. Mavs will join the Lakers and Celtics as the only teams this season with multiple 25-point scorers. And the combined points per game, Luka, Kyrie, more than 60 a night. That's the highest of any qualified duo this season.
All right, Kyrie's an NBA Finals winner. So is Kendrick Perkins. Great to have Big Perk with us here on SportsCenter tonight. The big question everyone's wondering, how do you see Kyrie meshing with Luka?
You know what? It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I mean, we saw what Luka did with Jalen Brunson last year. Obviously, they went to the Western Conference Finals. And Zoo, with the West being wide open, I don't know a better backcourt that could outlast those two in the West right now. So if they could just get some production in the interior, Christian Woods, maybe JaVale McGee have an impact, I don't see anybody really stopping those two guys, Luka and Kyrie in particular. But yet, I haven't really seen Luka sacrifice as much as he should, so we will see. But what we do know is that Kyrie Irving showed us in Brooklyn for a little sample size that he's capable of playing off the ball.
You just mentioned how wide open the West is. Of the top 6 teams in the West, only the Mavericks have actually won the NBA title. So that leads us to how far can this duo take the Mavs in this Western Conference?
Well, to be honest with you, I believe if they're healthy and if Kyrie's mind is right, I believe that the finals is their ceiling. To be honest with you, if Kyrie is in the right space and the way that Luka has been tearing up the league, I don't know no other person that could doubt that this team could possibly get to the finals. The finals is this team's ceiling.
Wow. All right. Expectations have been set for Coach Kidd. All right, before I let you go, how would you sum up the Big Three era in Brooklyn that included KD, Irving, and Harden?
If you think about what they gave up, Zoo, they gave up Karis LeVert, they gave up Jared Allen, and they gave up some picks to get James Harden, okay? And then you get James Harden and you give him up for Ben Simmons, who has been irrelevant since he got to Brooklyn. And now all of a sudden, Kyrie Irving bounced on Kevin Durant, who has had his back the entire time throughout all the drama that Kyrie caused. This is the biggest disappointment in NBA history when it comes down to a big three like them forming together. They got zero accomplished, winning no real series, making it to no conference finals, barely even playing games together. Hands down, the biggest disappointment I've ever seen.
Incredible. I heard Perk say this is one day going to turn into a dramatic and cataclysmic 30 for 30. So on that tip, what if I told you the Durant, Kyrie, Harden era in Brooklyn would produce just one playoff series victory? Perk, thank you.
Thank you.
I will now carry the hell on. Warriors looking at another significant stretch of time without Steph Curry. Warriors MVP suffered some ligament damage to his left leg playing defense Saturday against Memphis. This is why superstars shouldn't play defense. Don't be guarding people. Curry's season isn't over, according to the Dubs.
checking on the Grizzlies, who've actually lost 6 of their last 7, and it just tells you the kind of year, John, the Grizzlies have had. They've lost